How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Box to Box. It's been a little while, but the Premier League is back. The World Cup is now over. Argentina have done it. Messi has got it in the bag. But we move on to Arsenal, the club we all love. I say we all. Obviously, Dan doesn't. You see the badge he's wearing right now. That's who's visiting the Emirates this Monday on Boxing Day. And you know what Box to Box is about. Welcome, Dan, to the show. What are you saying, Dan? It's been a little while.
Yeah, it has. And a lot has changed since the last time that I was on this show. That was, things have changed quite drastically. And I've enjoyed the break with the World Cup, not thinking about West Ham, not talking about West Ham. And here we drag me down to make me suffer. But hopefully things change.
Oh, talk to me about those changes, because obviously looking at West Ham's start to the season, it hasn't been the best start considering the last couple of years, and there's been lows, but there's been a lot of highs and there's been a lot of good performances, a lot of consistency there under David Moyes. This start to the season hasn't been quite the same. What do you put that down to? Because in the summer I saw you lot bought Lucas Paqueta in. Any more signings?
Yeah, Aguerd, who was one of the players of the World Cup in my opinion. Skamaka. We brought in...
He hasn't really hit the ground running, has he? He's shown flashes.
Exactly. But this comes down to me, in my opinion, Moyes. You look at, we spent around 170 million pounds, right? That gave West Ham fans a lot of cause for excitement. Okay, look at what we've done before. We've got to Europe, you know. We've been flirting with Champions League top four. We've been in that race. And we thought, okay, now Moyes, he's got the backing. Now he's got the money. 170 million to get his players in. We was excited, but it's looking like that excitement now has just turned to just despair, because he's brought these players in it. But first of all, he didn't play them for a while, which he does, cautious approach. And now he don't look like he's going to play to suit them. You know, you're bringing in Paqueta, you're bringing in Skamaka, but we're playing, again, not to have possession, not to have the ball.
Is there an argument that maybe the signings were made above his head? Players that were given to him more than the players he wanted, or is that just a myth?
This is the thing. I said this season, I don't want to hear that at all now, because at the end of the day, Moyes had options to sign people in January when we were still going for that top four. We were still, I think, fourth in January, right?
Yeah. I remember when we beat you at the end of December, I think we pipped you to fourth going into January, but you was fifth there or thereabouts.
Yeah, we was around there, and then we petered out. So he opted not to sign players in January to get players in the summer. If he has allowed them to choose players above his head, players that he don't want, and he's still not going to try and play them players, then walk away. Because either you make the best of what you're given, or you go. Because otherwise you're just going to drag us down. So to me, I'm looking at it as, if I hear otherwise, these are his players, these are his signings. And he still won't play a way that suits them. And I feel for Skamaka. Skamaka's quality. Like, you see him play. He's a quality striker. But, again, we don't play to his style, his strengths. Same as Allaire. We had Allaire. Didn't play to his strengths. He left, got nominated for a Ballon d'Or. It's insane. Paqueta. You look at him for Brazil. He's quality. But for some reason, like,
Arsenal
our
fans...
Yeah, you were before us. You guys were linked with him. A few clubs were linked with Paqueta. But... he's not shining at West Ham. So, and our good players from last season have gone backwards. Bowen.
Yes.
You know,
one of the stars of last
you were going to steal away, apparently. You lot were linked with.
I wouldn't mind. I would have a bit of depth in that position.
Yeah, but now he's been terrible.
So would I be right in saying you're happy with the players that have come in, the personnel that you've signed in terms of quality? It's just that you have doubts about what Moyes' plan is for them and how he's embedded them into the side. Yeah,
I think, look, all the players we've signed, near enough all of them, I'm happy with. I think they're quality players, and I think they can be big assets for us, exciting players. But yeah, Moyes, the style of play, whether it's the tactics he's coaching, he's not getting the best out of these players. So I think, and this is what comes down to what's going to happen with Moyes, I think another manager could. And Moyes now has had enough time to go back to the drawing board, to plan, prepare, and go, okay, this is what Paqueta's strengths are. Hopefully he's watched them in the World Cup. This is Skamaka's strengths, right? We want to get the best out of these players here. And hopefully he's gone back to the drawing board to do that. But if he's going to keep playing this crap football, you sign these players like that, these exciting players, and you play this crap brand of football, it's just pointless. It's just pointless. He's taking us backwards. So I was saying it from earlier. I got a lot of stick, but I think people are coming around, and I think the pressure's on his head, you know.
So you're looking at the World Cup as a welcome break, considering the start of the season and the way he's failed to bed in the players that have come in.
It's. Do you know what? I look at it in that way, but then part of me is like, it's almost like a stay of execution for Moyes, because say by now, say we lost like the next 3 games, and he potentially could have got sacked, right? And then by this time we could have got a new manager. Now we've had this big break, which gives him this rest, and then say we lose the 3 games after the break, and then he gets sacked right on top of January. It's just delaying the inevitable. Part of me wanted just to say, let's sack him now, and use this time to get in a good manager. Try and get in a top quality manager. Try and punch above our weight. So I hope he can turn it around, but I'm not confident. This game is a chance for him to win me over, to show me. If we win this game, I'll have some faith. I'll believe that, yes, this manager can offer something. And that's a tall ask.
Away at the Emirates, it's not an easy task, especially when you look at the way Arsenal started. But in terms of the manager, and you saying a stay of execution, is there any managers you have in mind looking around Europe and world football, even the World Cup, that have maybe perked up some interest?
Yeah, obviously you have your tier list, right? And you go, okay, Poch would be number 1. Very unlikely, right? Poch. But you go for it. You don't even know. Offer him a shitload of money, back in all of that. Maybe you get Poch and the Tuchels and them, right? Then I look at Mancini. Obviously, he wasn't in the World Cup.
Yep.
He's got a while before he goes back for the Euros now. 2 years. Maybe he's going to want to come back to football. Luis Enrique, again, another big ask.
Yep.
I would even take a punt on Martinez and Thierry Henry as a team.
Yeah.
Right. Belgium didn't really live up to their hype, but I think he's a manager that can suit the players that we have. You have a legend like Thierry Henry. I think his statue's over there.
Yeah.
Who then can come, and he's a big player. He's a big name who can work with the players. The players will respect
as soon as he walks in.
Yeah, exactly. That combination, like if we're talking about gettable, I think Roberto Martinez is gettable.
Yeah.
And I think obviously if Thierry Henry comes with him, he's gettable because, I maintain we're a big club. I think that's a good project for both of them. So that's like the list. Go for the top, try and get them. And if not, gettable, realistic, Martinez with Henry.
Interesting. And listen, we started this by saying it's changed a lot since the last time we spoke, not only for West Ham, but you look at Arsenal too. Our start to the season, the best start to a Premier League season for us. 14 games, 12 wins, 1 loss, obviously against United, and then 1 draw against Southampton. Top of the league, 5 points clear. Before we talk about the impact of the World Cup and Jesus' injury and how we return from it, what have you made of Arsenal so far this season, off the back of our transfer window with Jesus, Zinchenko coming in, 2 leaders, 2 winners? How you seeing Arsenal now outside looking in?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you say obviously best start to a season. I mean, I think, was it last season you had your worst start to the season?
Yeah, 3 games, 3 losses, no goals scored.
Yeah, so what a turnaround. And I think the transfer window has been great for you guys. I think Arteta's relationship with Man City has done wonders
Helped
for
a
us.
lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's been big getting in Jesus and Zinchenko. I think that's really you've had a really solid transfer window and hit the ground running, so you're sort of been rejuvenated.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting now to see how you do, obviously, with the squad depth. I've spoke to Dan Potts a lot, who's been worried about your squad depth and a couple of injuries here and there. That's the problem, is how deep you can go. But you can't fault how you've done so far, playing good football and stayed up there, at the top of the league. I don't think that you're going to win it. You're going to win the league, but just being up there now is a massive improvement.
Yeah, and it can lead to more belief moving forward.
It's keeping that positivity there, and I think, that has seeped into the players, and having that, the fans, the whole vibe around the club at the moment is positive. It's just having that mentality then when you go deep, when you have to really dig deep. And that was the problem last season, right? When it comes to clinching that 4th spot.
Yeah.
When, you lot of talk about young players and that. When it come time to really just drag yourselves over the line, you couldn't do it. And this time, can you do it? And I think if I'm looking at it, okay, you get top 4. Say you get top 4, which is big. That's where you want to get.
First target was Champions League football.
But if I'm Arsenal, I have to be looking at winning that Europa League because that, to me, that's a better way of getting into it. But stack them
that's
trophies,
success, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a trophy, and that's what you want. So to me, I think if you just get fourth, you're getting top four. I think top four is nailed on for you now.
Yep.
But now, what can you do beyond that? Why not go for the league? By all means, don't disregard that, because you never know. Something could happen. Man City could implode, but you got to win. I think you got to win something this year, and you could do. But again, injuries now. Jesus being out. I know you want to talk about that. That 3 months.
That's what it sounds. Well, one day we're hearing 3 weeks, the next day we're hearing 4 months. Now I'm hearing end of February. So it's really hard to tell. But essentially, I feel like let's forget about him for now. Not worry too much, because what's done is done. But how do we manage without him? And obviously, towards the end of last season, Eddie started up top against West Ham away, and we managed to get the win. And he actually had a decent game as well. But how do you see the difference? And do you think we can still maintain this form? Considering before Jesus went into the World Cup, a lot of fans, especially opposition fans, were looking at his goal-scoring record. Only 5 goals in the league, but you add the 5 assists to that, and his all-round style and how he brings others into play, and he takes the attention away from other players. It's not easily replaced. Actually, Arteta said it's impossible to replace. In terms of Eddie Nketiah, you've seen quite a bit of him, you know, across the last year. Let's say at Arsenal, he's got the new contract, he got the number 14 shirt. Does he? I guess the question is, it's not does he scare you, but can he be a worry in his own right?
Yeah, I think so. Like, look, he's not someone that, like you say, you look at and you're fearful of going, oh my God, Eddie Nketiah. But, you know, he's one of them players that if you get him the ball to his feet in a dangerous position, he can put the ball in the back of the net. He can definitely cause problems as long as Arteta sets up around him to provide him them opportunities. But he can be very wasteful. That's his problem. We saw it, I think, last season. I think it was, or the season before that. Some of the chances he was missing was criminal. But it's very different to Jesus, because even though, like you said, the goals dried up, his all-round gameplay was pivotal. So that's what they've got to replace, rather than just, okay, we're taking Jesus and putting Nketiah in. Where are we replacing that job around the pitch that Jesus was doing? You know, is Odegaard then going to step up and do more? Or, you know, so
Odegaard's our top scorer in the league at the moment. He's got 6 goals. So
that's the thing. So I think you've got enough goals, I think, in and around the team, that even if Nketiah runs dry in this game particularly, you're still dangerous. I don't think this is going to be one of your harder games. I'm very pessimistic coming into it. So this ain't going to be the biggest test since the World Cup, I don't think. If we can get Aguerd starting, if he's starting and he's fit, I'm really excited about him at our back line, in our back line. But we've got a few Zuma's out. He's injured. So we've got a few players missing. So I think it will be an easy day for you. This is, do you know what? I've never come on this. I've never done an Arsenal preview, and been as least confident.
Swings and roundabouts.
There's times when, okay, I'm cautious and that. But this is the most pessimistic I've ever been coming into this fixture.
I guess you couple both things up. West Ham's poor start and Arsenal's great start, and that's what leads to the pessimism going into this game.
And that's it. And just, it's coming back from this World Cup as well. And it does affect everyone. But we went into it in a weaker situation, and now we're coming out of it. I don't know if Rice, who is our most important player, I don't know what state he's going to be in. You know, playing that late in England. He was like, played for England, and he went on like holiday for a week or something. He's only just come back, so how, fit and ready is he going to be? So that's a worry for me.
Do you think he'll start? Because you mentioned Zuma's out. I was going to ask you about Paqueta and Rice, who obviously went to the World Cup with their national teams. Is there any worries about them not starting? Or
I'm worried. Some people are starting to show me that they're going to start, maybe out of necessity. They just have to be pushed in, because Souček is not doing it for me these days. So, as a bloke, great guy. He had a good time when we was playing him. As this player who made late runs into the box and getting on the end of headers. But as a midfielder who can progress the ball and pass it, he's not it.
He lacks.
Yeah, that's the problem. So if we can't have Paqueta and Rice, or at least one of them, I like filling Downs. I think he's got a future ahead of him. But him and Souček, that's a worrying midfield. And obviously, what you've got in your midfield is Xhaka and Partey.
Yeah.
Come on. That's just...
Both of whom have actually come straight back into the fold. I know you mentioned Rice going on holiday after the World Cup. I've been impressed with the Arsenal players, and I've got to give credit to Xhaka again. I've been giving him credit all season, but he came out and said, I'm going back to Arsenal straight away. I've got big things to achieve. And then other players kind of fed in line from that. Tomiyasu, Ben White, Thomas Partey, Saka and Martinelli started the other day against Luton in a behind closed doors friendly. So I'm assuming all of them are ready to go in a sense against West Ham.
This is it, and this is why it's how we teams ended the first part of this season, right, going into the World Cup, is so important, because that mentality, they're buzzing to get back, right? They're buzzing to go back and play for the team and continue and pick up where they left off. Where our players ended downtrodden, defeated, and they're coming back to it now. They're going away for their countries and competing in the World Cup and buzzing, and now it's like, oh man, I've got to go back to that. Playing, like I said, just not football that's probably not particularly fun for them to play, and things ain't working. So the mentality is different.
It's not easy,
Yeah, so I'm not surprised that certain players weren't in a rush. I mean, we're down partly because of them, so they need to pick up. But like I said, the mentalities are different, so I'm worried about that in terms of where you're going to be up for it. It's time for our players to show what they're made of, really.
It's a London derby, and listen, West Ham do love a London derby or two across the Premier League season, so I'm sure there'll be a fight. One player I want to, move on to a little bit. Not sure how much you follow England and support England and so on, but for me, Saka was the standout performer for England. I mean, every challenge that faces Saka since he's come into the Arsenal team, whether it's being played left back, whether it's going left wing, whether it's number 10, right wing, whether it's taking a penalty in the final of the Euros or becoming an integral member of the team after winning English Men's Player of the Year, he just knocks it down. I know Bellingham was a star for England in the tournament, but I honestly think Saka was the best English player out there. And what do you make of Saka's progress over the years and his ceiling moving forward?
Yeah, I think his ceiling's very high. He's an exciting young player for sure. And like the stuff he's doing already, I think he has a big future ahead of him. The one thing I say is I think he needs to bulk up or something. He's very lightweight. I see him, the goal France scored, he got knocked off the ball very easy.
It was a foul.
I don't know. I didn't think it was a foul. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. But I do think, that's his only issue, is it can be a bit lightweight.
But he has improved that over the years, because now he does kind of hold people off and kind of spin round them and kind of.
If he can keep working on that, right? If he can keep working on that and get to the physicality side of the game, he's gonna be world class. Easy. That is the bit he can work on. But other than that, he seems like a great kid, good head on his shoulders,
humble,
bright future. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes, and if he's ever a situation where, if Arsenal obviously don't maintain this, if you end up keeping him, like we've had the similar situation with Rice, will the top elite clubs sniff around?
Is that coming to a head now at the end of this season, do you think? Because Rice has been rumoured the last couple of summers to be on the move. Chelsea's been the main team talked about, but I know there's other teams lingering about, sniffing about. Do you think it's his last season in West Ham colours?
Do you know what? I've answered this question multiple seasons. Every season I say, no, I don't think. I think he'll still be here this season. I don't need to leave, blah, blah, blah. I think this is it. I think this is his last season, sadly. If we would have built on what we'd done previously and had a chance at winning the trophy, we would have won the Europa League. He might have signed a contract there and then, but we bottled that. So I honestly think he's going to go if the money comes in. That's the thing. He's going to be very expensive, but if the money comes in, I think sadly, he's gone. And I don't trust David Moyes now, after getting 170 million, to spend another 100 million to replace Rice. This is the problem. So this is why, if we can get an elite manager, top manager, that might, you get someone in and saying it's a top manager. Like
Conte come to Tottenham and then like Kane was convinced to stay on.
Imagine we get a top elite manager, that could be the difference. Or even, like I said, you get a Martinez with an Henry, and Henry can come and say, listen, I like your game, I want to develop you, even though a different play, different positions and that, but still elite player. Sometimes that can be the difference, but honestly, I can't see it. I can't see him staying, and it's sad because I really like him as I think he's great, a great player, but great in the dressing room. So I think he'll be a big loss to the club.
Before we move on to predictions to round it up, Dan, what player do you have to keep quiet Monday, Boxing Day at the Emirates in order to get something out of the game? One player from Arsenal's team.
All of them. If Saka is fit, ready, back in the team from England. He's the one, especially with Jesus out. He's definitely the guy to keep quiet for sure. So I'm going to be looking on him. Odegaard, correct me if I'm wrong, he's very strong at home, where sometimes he goes missing away from home, isn't it?
That's been an argument thrown at him, but I think it's a bit of a harsh one.
Harsh. Yeah. So, but I think him especially
pulls the strings.
Yeah, because he hasn't really gone. He didn't go away for the World Cup, did he? So I think he's going to be fit, ready, and raring to go. He can score set pieces and score from outside the box. He can create. So I think normally I'd say Saka. I'm going to go Odegaard.
Okay, cool. Saka and Odegaard. Prediction time. As the home team, I'll go first. I'll bring the 3-1s back, people. So I'm going Arsenal 3, West Ham 1. Dan, what do you think?
3-0.
3-0?
Arsenal, sadly. Yeah. I just, do you know what? Maybe 2-0. But I can't see. I've never come in as pessimistic.
I'm sure they remember you as well. Usually you're confident, ready to go.
Last time I was getting pelters. They're going to be loving it now. But I can't see it really and truly. If we win, boy, like I said, Moyes, I'm sorry, I'll apologise, all of that stuff, right? But I can't see it. We got this. Then we got Brentford at home, who ended the half really well. Then Leeds away. 3 key games.
Yeah,
we're going to be starting on the loss.
Yeah.
He's next on the line, mate. So
I hope so. People, I've gone 3-1. Dan's gone 3-0. Let us know in the comments your predictions. Dan, let them know where they can find you.
Yes, West Ham Fan TV. We got an interview with Nicky and Lee Judges. We filmed it in a cafe around here. It was a great chat, and obviously it was on his channel as well. Should be a watch along coming. All of that stuff. At The Lawless on Twitter if you want to come and give me some stick.
There you go, people. I'm going to tag the channel in the title so you can go over there and see the preview with Nicky and Lee Judges. Dan, love as always, my guy.
Always, mate.
I hope you're right. I hope it is 3-0, but I'll take a 3-1. People, hit the like button if you haven't already, and leave us your thoughts in the comment section below. Predictions, lineups, key battles. I want to hear it all. I'm going to go through the comments and I'm going to engage with you as always. Love for the love, people. Hopefully we get the win. Peace.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.